Yes, sir. Sports update. Just Raaj and Reid today. No Adrian. Adrian's out sick, so today we Stephen Clay. We Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo. We go two-man this thing today. We're going two-man it. All right. So yeah, I want to jump right into college basketball. So since last stream, Juwan Howard got fired and Doug McDaniel transferred out of Michigan. So like Michigan's bottom feeders of the Big Ten right now. You lost your coach, your starting point guard. Transferred out. He hit the portal. So I mean, like, what do you think Michigan can do to help salvage this program to help see some light at the end of the tunnel? Like, what steps could they take?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about it. They're definitely a top job. They can be a top job. Michigan has very storied history in the tournament, and obviously all the Fab Five stuff, and they lost that one heartbreaker to Villanova. But I think they need to get. I mean, as bad as it is to say, they need to get some maturity at coaching. It didn't seem like Juwan really had that with all of his outbursts, not only with the staff that he had, but also that Wisconsin assistant. They do need to hit the transfer portal hard. I know there's a lot of good players that are supposed to be, leaving some of their schools and hitting the transfer portal. It stinks that you lose, your top guy to the transfer portal, but hopefully they can pick something up. You know that, your rival in Michigan State, Izzo, doesn't really use the transfer portal to his advantage. So, it's kind of all wide open for you. So, yeah, I think Michigan probably should go and look at someone off of like a Nate Oates staff, like from Alabama, maybe one of his assistants, or maybe even within. There could be a few guys that you interview within that might be available to take the job and might be able to take you somewhere. I haven't looked at what coaches obviously might be available. You got some time after the tournament to look. So yeah, I think they got to hit the transfer portal hard. Maybe dip into some NIL. That's how you lost Dickinson. So yeah, I think they need a young coach, but also that one that's been maybe with a program for a while that's won. So there's definitely salvaging it. I think you can get a quality coach and some quality starters just by the name alone, and the history of the program alone.
Yeah, it's a good job to have. You just whatever coach comes in, he just has to build it back up. Like you said, if he comes from a prominent program, maybe he could bring has some other guys that he coached prior, hit the portal, ground running, recruit well. This thing could get built back up. This is a good job. The Big Ten isn't just some gauntlet conference. It's gonna be wide open next year, especially with a lot of the guys leaving, the Zach Edey's and these guys leaving. So yeah, if they get the right coach in here, get the right recruits, hit the transfer portal, they can get this thing back rolling here soon. But first things first, they got to find a head coach. So we'll see how that unfolds. And it's going to be interesting to see. I want to see where Doug McDaniel ends up transferring.
Yeah,
because when Dickinson left, it kind of seemed like things went downhill from there. So I mean, it can't go downhill any further at this point. You finished last in the Big. The coach got fired, so
didn't even win double digits, right?
No, I think it was an 8-9 wins, something like that.
I think it was 8 or 9.
Yeah, can't get any worse than this. So can't go but up from here for Michigan.
Yeah.
All right, so Michigan State, they're a 9 seed. They're in the West region. They're playing against number 8 Mississippi State. MSU is a 1.5 point favorite in this one. How you think Michigan State wins this game?
Yeah, I don't think they go much further than this because I think their opponent would probably be North Carolina afterwards, and we know North Carolina obviously being a 1 seed that they are, and there's also history there. That's a big story, basically rivalry at this point between North Carolina and State. They've met each other in the finals before, back in those Tyler Hansbrough years and Kalen Lucas years. But I think that they can definitely win if all cylinders are firing. I definitely think Tom Izzo in March is obviously great. It just stinks that you kind of had the luck of the draw of being the 9 seed, and then you'll have to face obviously the 1 seed if North Carolina wins, which I'm assuming everybody thinks they are. But there is upsets. It is March. It is the tournament, so you never know. My prediction is that they probably don't get past North Carolina. But I would take them over Mississippi State as of right now. Again, everything has to really click for them. They seem to kind of pick up a little bit at the end of the season, but I think the tournament ends after this game, though.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a winnable game for them. I mean, they're a ninth seed. Mississippi State's the eighth seed. They are favored though. It's definitely a winnable game, but I don't, like you said, I don't see them anything outside of this game. They're pretty much be one and done unless they go on some Cinderella run, which
Yeah,
it's March Madness. Who knows?
happens.
Yeah, but as of right now, I don't see them getting past North Carolina. Especially, I think that North Carolina lost to NC State in the ACC championship game actually kind of helped instead of just winning all these games and hitting the tournament, taking the loss, having that chip on your shoulder, coming to the tournament. Yeah, they're no. I expect North Carolina to get out of the West region for sure. So in the South region, you got OU.
Yeah.
14th seed. They're going against number 3 Kentucky on Thursday. Is there any way OU can pull off an upset?
I was listening to Campy on the radio today, and he seemed. I mean, he's not going to say that they're gonna beat them by a million, but he seemed pretty confident. I mean, they did have a hard schedule this year. They almost beat an Ohio State. They almost beat an Illinois. They were going shot for shot with them. I think it all depends on if they can just get the shooting right, because they can shoot the ball well. But Kentucky has scored what? I think they had 300-point games this season or something like that. So obviously it's a real tough mountain to climb, and I'm going to say it a lot while we talk about it. It is March. I mean, crazier things have happened. What was that? The Middle Tennessee State upsetting Michigan State. You had the one last year. What was it? St. Peter's beat a high seed. Like, it can happen. Do I think it's going to? No, because Kentucky's just a blue chip juggernaut that can shoot. But again, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I would love to see Oakland take down a top. That would be a huge story for them and cool for our area, since where you said you've said it all year. You try to get out to a few games at least. It's 20 minutes up the road for me. So beating a blue chip school like Kentucky would be pretty rad. But I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it'd be David slaying Goliath. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they're probably gonna get blew up, but I'm still gonna watch it, man. It's just good to see OU in the tournament. They had a strong season, man. Shout out to Campy and those boys. The season was a success to me, regardless whether you get blew up by Kentucky in the tournament, whatever. At least you made it. You made it. Michigan didn't even get in, so hey.
Exactly.
So my Final Four in out the East region, I got Illinois. Out the West, I got North Carolina. Out the South, I got Houston, and out the Midwest, I got Kansas, and I got Houston winning it all. I got Houston winning the college basketball championship this year.
Wow, Houston scared me, and I mean they lost in their championship game as well. I know a lot of teams did this previous weekend, so I do not. I have coming out of the South. Actually, I'll start from the top. Coming out of the East, I have UConn. I think UConn is. I know that they are the 1 seed, so it's kind of not anything crazy to say, but I think they're a juggernaut. I think they're pretty much going to be the hardest team to beat in all of the tournament. So I have UConn coming out of the East. I have North Carolina coming out of the West. So UConn versus North Carolina, which I think would be a great matchup if that does come to be. It is 2 1 seeds. So again, anything can happen in March. But I have Marquette beating Houston and Marquette going to the Final Four. And my sleeper, because I always root for this team every year, and they always seem to make it pretty far or fall just short of going to the Final Four, I have Creighton beating Kansas out of the Midwest Final Four. I've been on a Creighton bandwagon for the last, I don't know, 4 to 5 years. Them and Providence are 2 teams I always seem to root for because they make it in and go far. I just would like to see. I kind of did that China as the wow factor. If you have your bracket, and that's kind of it. I mean, they are a 3 seed, but it's like a bracket buster, so you get a lot of points if they do make it to that Final Four. And I kind of have faith they can shoot. So yeah, that's my Final Four.
Okay, who you got winning it all?
I have. Who did I put for this one winning it all? Oh, now it's even kicking me out. I have UConn winning it all.
UConn. Okay, that's fair. They're pretty much
make
the argument the best team in the tournament. So I mean,
that's just why I just think that there's. I mean, they're 4 to 1 odds. I think to win it all. That team is the most well-rounded team I think in the tournament. Absolutely.
All right, so there's a lot of hype surrounding the women's tournament now. A lot of anticipation. I'm hearing the tickets are selling out. So do you think it's more anticipation for the women's tournament than it is the men's?
I think I think there is comparable. I don't think that the viewership in the women. I think a few games could probably stack up with some of the men's, but I don't think they'll beat the men's, whether it's like like in the championship or a Final Four games. I don't think they'll match up viewership wise there, but I think they can come pretty close, man. Like you're saying, there's some big matchups. I said to you guys earlier in our group chat, I don't know why they did it, but they're doing a rematch of the championship of LSU and Iowa. I get it. It's Angel Reese and was it Haley Van Lith versus Caitlin Clark? You know, obviously that's a good game, but to have it be a matchup in the Elite Eight and not even a Final Four game or potentially be a championship again, I think was a huge miss. I think it is like a Monday night game, I believe, prime time though. But I think that they probably should have figured out the brackets better to make it a Final Four game. I know that LSU also plays Louisville, which was Haley Van Lith's ex-team in the first round, I believe. So that could be a cool matchup as well. I mean, yeah, I think it definitely has the possibility to have the hype around it to get the viewership. I just think that the men's is such a juggernaut. March Madness is considered one of the greatest sporting events in the year. So I think it probably comes, you know, total viewership wise of all the games, I'm sure it probably comes pretty close to the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. That LSU Iowa matchup. Yeah, they're trying to get the ratings going ASAP. They want people in tuned, and they want the real people in immediately. They don't want to wait till I guess the Final Four, wait to the end. They're reeling people in now. We need all eyes and ears immediately. So
I'm gonna watch
that Monday night. Yeah, for sure. That Monday night stage, that's a big stage. A lot of people are going to tune in.
Yeah,
I'm sure the ratings are going to be well on that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So yeah, we'll see how the tournament unfolds for the men, the women, OU, MSU, and everybody. So yeah, we'll definitely be watching. So yeah, I did want to get some NBA in here. Shout out to my boy DC. DC always watches the streams. He always says, "Why don't you guys ever talk NBA? You guys don't talk NBA." So we're gonna get some NBA in here. I had a top 10 list I wanted from Adrian, but Adrian's not here. But we're still gonna touch on some NBA. So in the West right now, you got Sacramento's at 6, Dallas is at 7, Phoenix is at 8, Lakers at 9, Golden State is at 10. So one of these teams is going to be on the outside looking in. So you think the Lakers or Golden State or Sacramento, Phoenix, you think one of these teams is going to miss the playoffs? Who do you think is going to be on the outside looking in?
I don't see Sacramento or Phoenix. I don't see either of them losing enough games to be out on the outside looking in. I definitely think like a Golden State and the Lakers both could, just because the Lakers I think probably have a better chance just because their team has been clicking better than Golden State has. Like Reeves has been playing well. D'Lo has caught fire late. LeBron's been consistent. I mean, AD's been healthy for the most part. So yeah, I mean, I think the Lakers probably have have a better chance than Golden State. Golden State's just in kind of a weird spot, I guess. I mean, they have a real mixture of vets like Steph and Clay and Draymond, obviously, and then you got the young guys like Kuminga who's come through. Andrew Wiggins is Andrew Wiggins. So yeah, I think the dynasty is kind of dying down for Golden State. I don't think we're going to see another championship out of them, unfortunately. That's just my opinion. I think that they're gonna miss out. I just think that a lot of other teams in the West are too hot. Obviously, they're not going to lose out, but like OKC is on fire. Minnesota has been great. Denver's consistent. So yeah, Sacramento, I don't see again losing enough games, but Phoenix is one that could potentially do it just because there's so much injury and the bench is gone. There's no bench there, but I just don't see that. I think that's like an extreme. Like they have to lose KD and like Booker or Beal, and they probably wouldn't make it. But all those guys are healthy for the most part.
Yeah, because I think right now the playing game would be who would be in the play? Is it Lakers and Golden State?
Lakers and Golden State would be playing, yeah, right now. And I think the Lakers would beat Golden State personally, just because I think LeBron wouldn't want to lose. I think he kind of play out of his mind, and they just have kind of better size. Then just the defense obviously be tough. You got to stop Clay coming off the bench, but I think the Lakers are just a better team right now.
Agreed. So, if the NBA season ended today, who would you give the MVP to?
It's so tough.
Because this is one of those years where it's just a unanimous guy that's heads in front of everybody.
Yeah, this is tough because a lot of people like Shea. I like Shea a lot. I think he's great. A lot of people, the knock on him is he gets a lot of the Embiid treatment, where it's a lot of his points are scored off of field goals not for the most part, but a lot of them are it's basically you can't touch the guy in the paint. He can drive to the basket and draw a foul at any point, which is credit to his game. You have a guy like Luka who's playing out of his mind, scoring, averaging 30 plus, not a 10 and 9. Joker's got obviously almost triple double numbers again, so it's tough. If it ended today, I would say it would have to be Luka. Granted, Dallas is one of the worst defensive teams, but a close second, and I normally love Joker, but a close second would be Shea because his team is first in the West, I believe, or second. I know that they've been flip-flopping. Right. Yeah, so I would probably give it – I actually would probably give it to Shea just because his team's doing better. But Luka's overall stats, I think, are better. But I think the award is more of a stat-based award than a team-based award anyway. That's just any MVP to me.
Yeah, as of right now, that's what I was going to say. I'd give it to Shea right now. Yeah. I think he's played more games than Luka. I know Luka would miss some time with injury. Shea's been lighting it up. They're first in the West right now. You can't take that away from him. I don't think anybody really seen that coming. So as of right now, I'd give it to Shea, but I believe it's maybe like 20 games left or so. Don't quote me on me. So that it could change. Luka could go in a hot run these next couple weeks and move to that 1 seed. You can't count Jokic out either. So as of right now, I'm gonna give it to Shea, but 2 weeks from now, that answer could be different. Who knows? Maybe even a guy like Tatum for Boston might throw his name in the mix. So but right now, I'm gonna say Shea 1. I'm gonna go Jokic 2. I'm gonna go Luka 3. That's what I would say right now.
Yeah, I would say Shea, Luka, and Jokic. Although I think Jokic probably could win it mostly every year because he's just his team's so good and he puts up monster stats as a center. The thing about Shea is he's playing great defensive too. He's got a lot. I think he averages like 2 steals a game, 2.5 steals a game, something like that. So, and I think he averages almost 2 blocks a game. So there's that other aspect of it that I think that that would give him the edge over Luka. But again, I could see people's point in saying Luka. I also am kind of privy to Shea because he's helped me win a lot of fantasy basketball games this year. So
there you go. So what do you think OKC's ceiling is in the playoffs? I mean, they're the number 1 seed in the West right now, but how deep you think they can get in the playoffs? You think they can get to the Western Conference Finals?
I want to say yes because I like them. I think they're too young right now. I think that the team doesn't have enough experience in the playoffs or going, far enough. Again, it's basketball, so a lot of things are possible. But I don't think if they go up against I don't think they would beat the Nuggets necessarily. I think if they go up against Phoenix, I think they would have a tough time with Phoenix. I think they can beat them, but I also think they can lose to Phoenix just because Phoenix is so good offensively. But yeah, I don't see them going to a Western Conference Final right now. I think they could get to it in the future because this team is very young. They have 1 million draft picks. If they wanted to, they could trade them. I think they have 2. I think they're saying that they could get 2 back-to-back this year at like 10 and 11, which is absurd for a team that's number 1 in the West. And now you get 2 lottery picks. It's crazy to me. So they could trade those 2 picks for a vet, or those 2 picks in the future.
They gave up 1 for Gordon Hayward.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, the ceiling is pretty high for this team right now. I just think at this point in the career, I think a lot of those guys are really young. So obviously Chet's in his rookie year, quote unquote, because he got hurt. But Chet's young. Both the Williams are young. Shea's obviously young. So they got time. I see them as like a better Boston.
Yeah. They're the one we see in the West. I can see them winning like 1 playoff series, but I think just experience, whether you go against the Nuggets, the Suns, just some of these more seasoned teams. I don't know if they end up they might get the Lakers in the first round if they're the one seed in the Lakers that last seed. So I think they'd be out. They'd be one and done if that happened. So good story, but they're just a little too wet behind the ears right now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, let's get some NFL in here. Let's get some NFL. So the Steelers since our last stream, they traded for Justin Fields. So now their quarterback room consists of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So and they're potentially, I heard them potentially want to trade for Brandon Ayuk, the receiver for the 49ers. So we're as of right now, where do you see? I know we still got to have the draft, but as of right now, where do you see the Steelers in the AFC North? Because we all know that's a very tough division.
Yeah, it's hard. That division is so hard. I don't think that they're last. I think that they're better than Cleveland now. Cleveland has a great defense. They did trade for Jerry Jeudy on offense, but there's just something about Deshaun Watson I just don't see being I just don't see him being back to the same guy that he was. I think he spent too much time being off of football. I think he has too much time.
They can play defense and they can run the ball. Chubb's one of the better backs in the league.
Yeah, but I mean, coming off of a leg injury like that, he's older. I do agree with you, but I just think they still just don't have the quarterback. Deshaun Watson hasn't shown that he's back to the old Deshaun Watson. So, and I know a lot of people don't like Russ, but Russ had decent stats last season. He threw for 20 touchdowns. Like, I think he was in a bad situation, in a toxic situation in Denver. And I'm not the biggest Russ guy, but I still think he has a little bit of, juice left in the tank. So we'll see. But I would see them. I don't know. I think Cincinnati comes back and they're going to be just as good as they were before. I think they need a little more help on the O-line again. They lost a few guys this year. They got
some holes. They lost Mixon at running back. They don't really have a tight end. Offensive line, like they got some holes.
Well, who do they sign? They got Gesicki at tight end. I know he hasn't been always backed up to me. Gesicki. So he can be a solid receiving tight end. Drew Sample's still there, who played well for them. The offensive line, I think, is the one hole that they need to fix back up. As far as Mixon goes, I like Chase Brown, who they drafted out of Illinois last season. He really actually picked it up at the end of the season last year. So I'm not too worried about them losing Mixon. Again, running backs, they generally don't make it to their second contract. They get sent off once they hit, my age, 27, 28. So it stinks that they don't have them, but, you still have Chase. Losing Higgins might hurt them, but you can re-sign Tyler Boyd if he does get traded, if Higgins does get traded. But I think the Steelers I think they're in that – I think the Ravens hold on to that division, obviously, because I think they're the most complete and the scariest team. But I think the Steelers could put it for that second spot, especially, getting healthy again. Russ obviously is an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. He's going to be, I think he'll be a good mentor for Justin Fields because they have kind of similar games. Justin Fields, I think, is just more of a raw runner than Russell Wilson, but he still has the pocket, passing ability. He just needs to learn a little pocket presence. Hopefully they don't hang him out to dry like they did in Chicago. So I think 2 or 3 is realistic. I think it's closer to 2 than 3. It just depends on what happens with Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, that division's a gauntlet. That's the toughest division in football right now. For sure. Yeah.
Hey, NFC North, I think, has actually stepped up and become close. Not a close second, but they're up there because the Packers made a lot of moves, and I hate to say it, the Bears made a lot of moves. They just are going to have a rookie quarterback now, so NFC North is going to be tough too.
Yeah, so let's go right there. That's where I was going to go next. So yeah, with Fields going to the Steelers, I think we pretty much all believe Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick. So what do you think the Commanders do at 2? You think they go with Jaden Daniels or Drake May?
I think they lean a little bit more towards Jaden than Drake May. I think Drake May's stock has fallen a little bit. He's that. I mean, I don't think he's. I don't know. The Commanders are bringing. Apparently, the Giants just brought JJ in for a meeting and a dinner, and then the Commanders are supposed to be doing it tomorrow. So maybe your guy JJ jumps all the way up to 2. I don't know. We could see. It's. I don't know. People love him apparently.
It seemed like his stock is definitely rising.
and Drake May, I think, is a guy that's dropping. Granted, do I think he's going to drop to the third round, like when there was, the Will Levises and the Malik Willises of the world? No, I definitely think he'll be a first round guy. If anything, he would probably get picked by the Giants or the Vikings, I would assume, if Drake May does fall. But I think his stock is falling. I think a lot of people like Jaden Daniels. He obviously won the Heisman. He shows what he can do with his legs. He's a good passer. I think his only problem is not going down. He kind of plays that Josh Allen type play style, but he's not as big as Josh Allen. So, I could see the Commanders going there. Maybe if they fall in love with JJ and take him at 2, or they trade out of it. At the Giants love him, go back to 6. But I think they're definitely in the QB camp. But I think Jaden Daniels is the second best quarterback in this draft. I said he was the first a few pods ago, and I still think he is. I just think he's more mature than Caleb. I think he's better mobile than Caleb is. It just depends on situation. Caleb's obviously going into what seems to be a good situation now in Chicago. They did win 7 games last year. They got Keenan Allen for him. You have DJ Moore. That O-line's lacking a little bit, but you have a second pick. Maybe you get a Joe Alt or the kid out of Penn State. But yeah, I definitely think Jaden, and then I think JJ might end up jumping Drake May by the end of the week.
Yeah, that's crazy how JJ stock is just rising like this, but that just goes to show how important the quarterback position is. I was even hearing a lot about Minnesota now that they got those 2 first-round picks that they might potentially move up. But I know their first-round pick is at 11. I'm assuming JJ should be on the board at 11, right?
No, I don't think he makes it past New York. I don't think he makes it past 6. Hey, man, I'll tell you something crazy.
Man, if the Giants take McCarthy at 6, that would be insane.
I might tell you something even crazier.
JJ really need to go to that New York market where how the fans, how the media is out there. Like,
Raj, you want to hear a crazier
situation for him?
You want to hear this tinfoil hat conspiracy I came up with in my own brain? I was thinking about it today. Who holds pick number 5?
Refresh my memory.
The Chargers.
Okay.
Who's the Chargers head coach?
Harbaugh.
Imagine if Jim Harbaugh pulls a rabbit out of his hat. Imagine he does this. He takes JJ, gets to him at 5. Let's say it's Caleb. It's Caleb 1, Jaden or Drake 2 and 3. Marvin Harrison goes to the Cardinals at 4, and JJ's there at 5, and the Chargers have that pick.
Nah, it's no way
he picks him, and then he trades Justin Herbert for 11 and 25 or whatever it was from the Vikings, and the Vikings get Justin Herbert. And then he gets to build all the weapons because he lost Keenan Allen to the Bears. He gets to build all the weapons. If I'm the GM, I'm calling, Harbaugh would love him. The GM, I don't know if he would love that trade because Herbert's obviously a great quarterback. But that was I put a tinfoil hat on today, and I came up with that whole scheme when I was thinking about it today. It's possible.
You know what? Now that you say that, it actually doesn't sound that crazy because it's really not that. Because you would be able to load up fast. You get McCarthy, and then you'd get the 2 first-round picks. But you got to take the made guy. At the end of the day, Herbert's a made man.
Yeah,
we have no idea what JJ is going to be in the league. So
yeah, I thought it was something funny to put out there.
Right. Yeah. Hey, if the Chargers have a good draft, man, I think they could unthrone the Chiefs in that division. I really think they have the coach, the talent, the quarterback.
They're the closest team, obviously, to do it because the Raiders and the Broncos are just both in a weird spot.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So
that's another team that could trade up and trade up. The Raiders are looking for a quarterback. The Vikings are looking for a quarterback. Giants.
See, I don't think the Giants are going to take a quarterback at 6.
I think if JJ's there, they take JJ. I honestly do.
I don't think so, man. They got so many other needs. You already got Daniel Jones under contract. I do think the Giants need to draft a quarterback, just not at 6. You want to get a Slovis from who does Slovis play for now? He transferred so many times.
Yeah, he was at
he was at
USC and then he transferred to BYU or something.
He played. You want to get a guy like him, or you want a stash guy, Jordan Travis in the 4th round, or something like that. I just wouldn't take a quarter. I wouldn't take a backup player at 6 when the Giants have so many holes.
They need a wide receiver is what they need to take at 6.
Yeah,
So
for
they need to
sure.
go with Dunze, or I would go Neighbors because I like Neighbors more, but they need to go wide receiver at 6 because they have nothing.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than taking a backup quarterback. And
Yeah.
then like JJ, do you really want to go like into that New York market? It's with the fans and the media there, and it's too much. You need like a team like Minnesota would be a little better situation for him, especially
The
with
moment
Addison and Justin Jefferson and Hawk. That's a better situation.
the moment JJ does anything remotely close, because they're kind of comparable players, does anything remotely close to what Daniel Jones does, that New York market would eat him up so fast. Look what happened to Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson goes to almost anywhere else that's not the New York, and it was the Jets, not even the Giants, but it's still the New York market. You go anywhere else, I think he has a fine career. I think he plays well. Going to New York just killed him. I think I agree with you. I think if JJ goes there and he does the first time he runs on a play and fumbles or throws a bad interception and they're rolling out like a Daniel Jones type play, the Giants fans and the media would just absolutely crucify him.
Yeah, I think
Those
Minnesota's the
animals.
best. Yeah, I think Minnesota's the best situation for him with Hawk, Addison, Justin Jefferson, and then you got an offensive-minded coach that used to play quarterback in the NFL in O'Connell. I think that'd be the best situation. That or Denver going under a guy like Sean Payton, who we all know is an offensive guru. So I think those would be the two best situations for JJ. All right, so I did want to get some lines in here. So Lions moves, they extended Brad Holmes and Coach Campbell. They extended their contracts. And as far as the roster moves, they signed where we at here? Okay. They signed defensive tackle DJ Reader. They signed guard Kevin Ziegler from the Ravens. I like that move to guard. Obviously with Jonah Jackson leaving. And they re-signed Donovan Peoples-Jones. And recently, defensive end Romeo Okwara just announced he's stepping away from the NFL. So with all these moves going on with the Lions right now, what do you see them doing at 29?
So I think, like I've said all ever since the season ended, I think that Brad Holmes starts and he gets his list of guys as if you've watched the Defend the Den thing or whatever they do on YouTube, like I have. They show the draft process that he does, and he gets his list of 20 to 25 guys, and I think if there's one guy that he interviews and he falls in love with, we've seen it before. He moved up for JMO. I think he could trade up and go for the guy that he really loves. But if he knows that someone's maybe fallen, he could wait and trade that pick back too. I mean, it's endless possibilities. After signing, I know people don't love it, but after signing Carlton Davis, that fills a big spot at cornerback. DJ Reader, that fills a big spot at defensive tackle. Zeitler, like you said, you signed him. He was a Pro Bowler. He is older, but that gives you leeway to push back a guard draft. I know I've talked about it with you guys before. He broke his leg in the season. You guys are very familiar with him, but Zinter from Michigan, I think you could get him in round 3 or 4 if you trade back. He could be a fantastic guard. I know that it wasn't anything serious. It was a broken leg. That obviously stinks, but I think he could, you get Zeitler and you have Zinter sit 1 year behind him and he learns and he figures it out.
It's just the only thing. Just keep drafting these injured players. J-Mo, the quarterback, a hooker. You draft another injured guy. That's the only thing. But I do like Zinter, though. I do think that will.
I mean, yeah, I see it. I mean, obviously, the two other injured guys, I think, is more serious than a broken leg when they both tore their ACLs. And one was an ACL, one was Achilles, I think, right? J-Mo was Achilles. But, I mean, J-Mo just showed you, I mean, he was the best player on the field for the most part, other than McCaffrey probably in that NFC Championship game.
Two touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he just needs to step it up a little bit, and I think he's matured since the beginning of the season. He handles media a lot better than he did. He showed that he wants to be here. I think he kind of bought into the whole scheme. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It would stink, but I mean, he has time to recover his leg, and obviously they do physicals and everything on these guys. So I wouldn't mind doing it. Obviously, there's other guards you can get. I like that kid out of UConn, Christian Hayes, I think his name is. There's the guard out of Duke. I personally have said to you guys multiple times, I want them, and not just because I'm a Florida State fan. I think that you need a big body guy. I think Keon Coleman is one of the biggest receivers in this. He's 6'4", 215.
I don't think he's going to be there at 29.
I think he will be. He's falling, unfortunately, but I think you get him in the second round possibly. I either want him or an edge rusher as are the two things I want. I know this Xavier. I even said it before this. Mel Kiper just said that he would take Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. I said this to you guys in the group chat a couple days ago. I'd take him in round 3 or round 3, but I don't think I'd pick him at 29. I don't know how he got all the way to the first round. He was a projected third round pick 3 days ago to a week ago. But I think they need a big body wide receiver. I think that's the only thing that's lacking. I know they brought back Josh Reynolds, but
they did bring Reynolds back?
Yeah, I think he's on a year. I think he got a year deal. So, but after that, I got a sorry taste in my mouth after that NFC Championship game. So they can go a myriad of ways, man. I know I spent a lot of time on this, but yeah, they can go. I think they can go anywhere. And I think Brad Holmes is just ultimately going to pick the best guy that he likes. I think it's a positionless pick at this point. It's whatever guy Brad Holmes likes the most, whatever guy really, piqued his interest in those interviews. He's either going to go get that guy, he's going to trade back for that guy, or he's going to pick him at 29. I think he's going to know who he wants at 29.
Yeah. As of right now, I think it's probably going to be receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the offensive lineman. I like the Zeitler signing, but it's only a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So. And then, we all know how the NFL is with injuries. So just because you draft the offensive line doesn't mean he's going to not play, because these guys get plugged in all the time. So I think receiver, offensive lineman, and DN, especially now with Romeo Okwara stepping away from the NFL. I don't know what's that all about, what happened there. Pascal did come on towards the end of the season last year. He showed some flashes. But he seems like he's more of just a rotational guy. I don't know if he's necessarily a dog on the other side of Hut. So I think DN, receiver, or offensive lineman, or like you said, somebody might fall. They might just take the best guy available, whoever that may be. Also, I would like the receiver from Texas that transferred from Georgia.
Mitchell, AD Mitchell.
I like Mitchell a lot. If
I like him too.
29, that's what I would take.
Yeah, I like him too. I like Keon a little bit better, just because he's bigger. But Mitchell would be fine too. I wouldn't be too upset at Mitchell. He's 6'2", I think 200 pounds. He can definitely go up and get it. He scored 11 touchdowns, I believe, last season. So that's fine. I mean, I would want him to put on about 10 pounds, but because I think they really need a guy that can go up and get the ball. They just don't have that, and unfortunately, that stinks for them in the red zone, because they never, they don't score in the red zone a lot because of that. I mean, I don't know if they're doing this, but I ultimately think they might be holding out for James Houston, hoping that maybe he can resurrect that 7-game stretch rookie season that he had and add to it. I hope that's not the case, because I think James I think he's good. I don't think he's that key piece that's opposite of Aiden. I think it's you need a guy that's a little bit bigger than him. I mean, I know I said I like Chop. He's a smaller guy, but I still think Chop Robinson would be a better addition. Ultimately, in the perfect world, if Brad Holmes, he's been known to trade up. If a guy falls, like the guy I want, Jared Verse, because I think Dallas Turner goes first. They can get up and get Jared Verse if he's at, if it's pick, 15 to 20. I don't think he's going to fall that far. But if he gets to 15, I would make a call and see what it would cost.
Yeah, I'm all for that. If Jared Verse falls, move up for sure.
That would be.
Don't do nothing too crazy. But if they move up for Jared Verse, I'd be really happy with that. Your D line would be solidified with signing Reader, Ali McNeil, Hutch, and then you add Verse. That's a good D line right there. So yeah, we gotta see how it all plays out. We gotta see how it all unfolds for draft right here in downtown Detroit. So, all right, so we get out of here. Let's get what's the update on the Wings game before we get up out of here?
Third period basically just started. It's still 2-2. Luckily they came back, but man, their shooting is. I'm surprised they're tied. It's they're being outshot 30-15.
That's
the Blue Jackets has 30 shots on net. Wings only have 15 shots, and it's 2-2. Surprisingly, it's insane. You're only shooting half the shots, and it's tied. But yeah, I don't know. I think some of these other lines just don't look that great.
I just don't understand how the offense just got this bet since the Larkin injury. I just don't understand how they just forgot how to put shots on goal and just score points. Like it's crazy.
It just seems like these lines, like the line that they put these guys out on, don't have any. Oh gosh, now a penalty just happened from Valeno. It just seems like these guys don't have any chemistry. They don't know. Like their passes are so wild and flagrant all over the place. I just don't get it.
So if they do end up missing the playoffs this year, is Stevie Y on the hot seat, or are you going to give him a pass? Because this kind of you were in that wild card spot, and to these last couple weeks, last 2.5 weeks have been very ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that no, I'd put him in a hot seat, but he also, the team was firing on all cylinders and actually playing pretty well. They got 70 points. They went a lot further than a lot of other people thought they were going to. I wouldn't be thrilled with him, but I think that he did do a lot to help the team get to where they are. So, I mean, I'd still give him another year, obviously, because you got a lot of prospects that are supposed to be, pretty solid that can come up and play. You're hoping that they just scored 3-2 now. Blue Jackets.
Wings are up.
No, wings are down. Blue Jackets scored on a penalty on a power play. But yeah, I think I would probably give him another year pass and just see, because I think he could. I think by next season, I would say by next season, if you don't improve, then it's a failure.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't fire him or nothing either if they missed the playoffs this year. But that'd be a huge letdown compared to where they were at just 2 months ago to now. It's how they just completely trended down. So it'd be a huge letdown. He'd be on a hot seat. I won't say fire him, get rid of him or nothing, but that seat would definitely start getting hot.
Yeah, I agree.
So for sure. All right. Well, yeah, good stuff. Anything else you want to add before we get up out of here?
No, man, I'm excited. We got March Madness starts on Tuesday, or not Tuesday. March Madness starts today, but the actual games start 2 days? Day?
Yeah, Thursday. I know OU plays Thursday. I think State plays Friday.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so hey, let's see if OU can pull it off. Let's see if OU pulls off the upset.
We'll have a lot to talk about Tuesday, where we're at.
Yes, sir. You guys make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Peace.